when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, Tobago, and welcome this morning to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. It is a beautiful Tuesday morning, and we're really happy to be in your company because this is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Good morning, good morning, good morning to those of you in Tobago, in Trinidad, in the Caribbean, and those of you viewing us on the live this morning. It's a beautiful day. Slightly overcast in Tobago, at least in Scarborough, Tobago this morning. So we're urging you, we're not sure what's going to be happening a bit later on in the day, but whatever you're doing, ensure that you are protected, ensure that you are kept safe and that you are kept dry. All right? So we're going to, before we get on into things, we want to head on over into our news in 90 seconds with Candace.
Thank you, Ria. I am Candace Jackson, and here is your news in 90 seconds for Tuesday, 23rd May, 2023. The Tobago Council of the PNM and Dennis promised supporters that the party is ready to rescue Tobago from the reigns of the Fally Augustine-led THA. He was speaking at a political meeting in Buku recently. According to Dennis, the party had enough time for introspection and evaluation following the 14-1 defeat at the December 2021 THA elections. Following that evaluation, Dennis stated that the Tobago Council of the PNM learned lessons and is now ready to better serve Tobagonians. Meanwhile, Tobago West MP Shampa Kajo called on Tobagonians to not be fooled by the utterance of the current administration. According to Kajo, Chief Secretary Fally Augustine is not being truthful about the execution of some infrastructural projects within communities. Pointing to a bridge project in Grandy Gully, Goodwood, Kajo said the Self-Help Commission provided the funding to help with the construction in 2021, but accused the current administration of the THA of first delaying it and then mishandling it, which is causing problems for one resident. She said it was just one example of many to prove that Augustine and his team are failing to keep promises made on the campaign trail. And finally, National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hines urged the media to make a greater effort in sensitizing the public to the dangers of guns and drugs. He made the call while addressing reporters at a function yesterday. According to Hines, the media should do more than just report on crime and violence. Instead, they should disseminate information about the dangers of weapons. He said he would like to see the cooperation of the media to not only highlight the risks of crime, but also what can be done by citizens to safeguard communities to aid in the government's crime-fighting efforts. And that was the news in 90 seconds. It is back to you, Ria.
Thank you so much there, Candace. Thank you so much there. And I tell you, can I say there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. You know, okay, we're gonna leave it. We're gonna leave it, Candace. We're gonna leave it. Okay, but you're there. You're there this morning. I understand as well that the Minister of Public Utilities is in Tobago.
Yes, he is.
Yes, and so, you know, I think we're going to be chatting with him this morning on, is it your show, on GMT?
Yes, on GMT. So he's going to be talking about some WASA projects and stuff like that. Some developments are going to be happening in Tobago. Well, we're going to find out from him if this time around the THA is actually invited. Because, you know, the last time he was here, there was some back and forth. I mean, we had the Assistant Secretary, Mr. Niall George, stating that, you know, for a recent thing that the minister was here for, he was first invited and then he was uninvited. So we're going to see, we're going to get into that. Also to see what are the updates for WASA here in Tobago and all the other utilities. We know that, for instance, electricity is still an issue here. We have frequent outages and all of that, even though, you know, Cove was set up to be a facility that was supposed to export electricity, actually. If you go back to when it was launched way back then. Mm-hmm. But yes, so that's coming up later on GMT.
All right, certainly. So it's a look forward. Okay, so viewers, and that's coming up from about 8 o'clock this morning. You can join Candace on GMT for more information. All right, Candace, thank you out there. All right, so viewers, let's just give you an update this morning in terms of what's coming up on the program today. We're going to be chatting this morning with the Honorable Shamfa Cudjoe, Minister of Sport and Youth Affairs. She's going to be on the program this morning to chat with us on the Empower TT project and the Commonwealth Youth Games 2023, as well as Assemblyman Trevor James is going to be on the program. Mr. James is the Secretary for the Division of Infrastructure, Quarries and Urban Development. And we're going to be talking this morning about expanding Tobago's infrastructure. And then we're going to wrap things up this morning chatting with Pastor Mackenzie, the Tobago mission of SDA. And we're going to talk about the SDA's in-gathering for 2023. So that's what's coming up on the program. All right, so we're going to head on over into our birthday segments, which is sponsored by...
This is your birthday shoutouts on Tobago Updates, sponsored by KFC.
All right, and we start things off this morning celebrating one of our very good friends out there, Mr. Kenrick Valdez, celebrating a birthday. Happy birthday going out to Kenrick Valdez and lots of love. Omari Martin celebrating a birthday. Omari Martin, lots of love going out to you this morning from all of us here at Tobago Updates, from my family to yours and all of us at the Patient Silo Open Bible Standard Churches in Tobago. We've got Hayden Cowie Clark, a son of the soil living out in Trinidad now. Hayden, happy birthday going out to you and all the best. Lots of love going out to you this morning from all of us here at Tobago Updates, from your family, your siblings, your mom. Happy birthday.
Birthday shoutouts on Tobago Updates, sponsored by KFC.
From the experts that created the Zinger sandwich comes the KFC Crispy Barbecue Zinger.
The only one I see is you.
Cheddar cheese, crispy onions, the most delicious Kentucky Fried Chicken, and barbecue sauce. Get ready for a whole new level of flavor.
And you know, there's the most important birthday, and all birthdays are important, but this one is very near and dear and very special to my heart. And I wanted to get the birthday celebrations out. Now, there is an announcement that we've got to make, but we want to get this special birthday out. And I think we've got it now. We've got those pics up. All right. And this is my daddy. This is a really old pic. This is a young pic, not an old pic, but a very young pic of him. My daddy, Elton Richardson, celebrating his birthday today. And this is Granddad Elton here with his last grandson. All right. Celebrating his birthday today. And this is a special one. I think this is 75 years today. So, Daddy, lots of love going out to you. I think there are a couple more pics. Yeah, there are two more pics. Celebrating his birthday. So, love going out to you. And this is with him and his grandchildren. Think, 5 out of the 9 grandchildren or more. 5 of them, 5 of his grands here celebrating. And this is him back in the day playing the keyboard, which is something that he still loves to do. So, Daddy, happy birthday going out to you from all of your children and your grandchildren and the entire family, from Auntie Esther, Jason, Auntie Pam, from the entire clan, all of your siblings in Trinidad and the U.S. So, happy birthday going out to you, Daddy, Granddad. My last nephew used to call him Ganad. All right, so love going out to you today, and we trust that you have a really great day today. All right, so viewers, lots more coming up this morning on the Tobago Updates Morning Show. But just before we head there, we want to take the opportunity this morning to apologize to our public and to Assemblyman Ian Pollard. Now, yesterday, Mr. Pollard, Assemblyman Pollard, was featured to have appeared on the morning program, the Tobago Updates Morning Show. We did introduce him. We did acknowledge there was a flyer done and everything, and we did the rundown. His name appeared on the rundown. But somehow along the way, there was some miscommunication between him and our producer. And so we take the opportunity this morning to apologize to Mr. Pollard and the entire team for having announced him being on the program when there was apparently no confirmation. So we do apologize this morning again to Assemblyman Ian Pollard and the entire team. And for those viewers out there who looked on because they expected to see Mr. Pollard, we do apologize. From all of us here at Tobago Updates, we send out our sincerest apologies to all of you. And so viewers, we've got lots more coming up this morning on the Tobago Updates. We've got Tobago in focus at this time. So share the live, share the live, share the live.
Good health starts with good nutrition. The Division of Education, Research and Technology understands this, knowing that the future of Tobago lies with the nutrition of our children. The school nutrition policy is being developed for this purpose.
We must understand that the child is a whole being. What the child consumes matters. We do have a lot of wastage with particular meals as well, so we want to bring everything in a streamlined and organized manner so that we are most cost effective in our school nutrition program.
The policy, which is being examined and developed by a multi-departmental team from the division, as well as food and nutrition stakeholders, will seek to reduce waste, provide cost-effective measures, as well as establishing quality standards for meals and the stakeholders who create them.
We're also going to be reviewing the cost, the pricing, criteria for children to access the meals, because that has sort of gotten out of control a little bit over the years, moved away from the original objectives. And also the criteria for selecting and for maintaining your services as a caterer, because you have to maintain a standard.
The committee has been given a 4-month deadline for the full rollout of this policy. Technical advisor at the Division of Education, Research and Technology, Natasha Second, said work is well underway and encouraged principals, teachers and parents to participate in the process when the need arises.
We want to have policies that are very clear, policies that are very pragmatic. They're not going to simply be academic documents that are stuck in a cupboard. We want persons who work throughout the system to be able to move towards an improvingly higher quality education product, because we can measure exactly where we're going. So we want it to be transparent, and we want to have high levels of accountability throughout our entire system.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up and look, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up and look. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
The Across the Floor Dance Company presents Emotions, Movement of the Heart dance production on Saturday, May 27th at the Shore Park Complex. Come see dances of all genres. Seating at 6:30 p.m. Show starts promptly at 7 p.m. Tickets are only $100. Children 10 and under pay $50 at the door. Tickets are available at Shore Park Complex box office, or please call 391-2816 for more information. This is an event for the entire family.
Are you looking for a place for your loved ones? Heavenly Care welcomes you. Located at Northside Road opposite Massey Motors, we offer a variety of services. These include doctor visitations, social activities, geriatric care, and much more. Contact us at 277-9595 or visit us at Northside Road opposite Massey Motors. At Heavenly Care, compassion is at the heart of all care.
Welcome to L'Image Parfait Day Spa, your urban oasis and wellness center. Our services includes massages, treatments, facials, pedicures, weight management, detox programs, and much more. Call us today at 624-1452 or 720-7474. Trinidad locations and Bonacore, Tobago at 273-7772. Let us treat you like the VIP you are.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry. If your nice car get damaged bad, I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. Don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry. If your house get flooded out real bad, I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. If sickness catch you off guard, I tell them never ever worry. If times fall on you real hard, I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil will always be here for you.
Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Viewers, welcome back. Welcome back this morning to the Tobago Updates morning show. Remember, viewers, we're coming to you live from the third floor, Portmore, Lower Scarborough, Tobago. On our program this morning, we chat with the Honorable Shamfa Kudjo, Minister of Sport and Youth Affairs. This morning,
Development.
and community development. Yes, we forgot that part. My apologies. And community development. This morning, the minister is on the program this morning to chat with us on the Empower TT project and the Commonwealth Games, or the Commonwealth Youth Games 2023. Good morning and welcome to Minister Kudjo.
Good morning, Ria. It's a real pleasure to see you in person. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Tobago Update. It's a privilege to be here, and I thank you for having me this morning.
Good to see you. It's been a while. It's been a long while. But I'm sure Tobago and our viewers are really happy to have you with us today. Let's start this morning by chatting about the Empower TT project. Give us an idea this morning of what this project is all about and when it started and the purpose for it.
Okay, Empower TT was created around 2018, 2019 when I assumed duties in Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs. I conceptualized the program based on going from community to community, especially areas like Plymouth, Golden Lane, Bethel Village, where I'm from, and talking to the young men on the street. I try to create programs based on what I've heard and seen and the feedback from the people I serve. So in the past, we've had programs like 40 Under 40, which is still running, where we put young people in the same space as other young people who have excelled in entrepreneurship, showing them that you don't have to get 5 subjects to excel. Your life doesn't start and end with 5 subjects. Right. There are other things you can do if you have skills, and leaning them towards entrepreneurship. For Empower TT, we wanted to focus specifically on men, providing a platform for men to share stories, for them to learn from other men, to be directed by other men, a safe space for men to talk and to develop skills towards their personal development, so that they can make better choices in life. So we created Empower TT to empower men in Trinidad and Tobago. Now the program has 4 stages or 4 phases. You have the M zones, which is about transforming a community center into a man cave or a male-friendly zone. So we call them M zones, or a basketball court or a street corner. Last week we sat on the street corner at Plymouth, and you get young men to come out and talk to masters and brand ambassadors. The brand ambassadors are those who have a strong social media following, or they're leaders within their community and they have influence and they can bring out people to the program. And the masters are those who are experts or gurus or trusted persons in a specific subject area. We cover areas like topics like I Am Man. This evening we're doing the topic I Am Man at Barcode. So we turned Barcode into an M zone or male-friendly zone later on today. And we invite all young men, any age, because we really geared towards 16 to 40. But any age, once you're a man, come out and be a part of the conversation. Now, you have the M zones, and then we have life skills training. Life skills training, we teach them time management, conflict resolution, emotional intelligence, and they go through workshops and so on, dining etiquette, how to behave when you go out on a date, and that type of thing. And then we take them to a psychological assessment. We bring in a psychologist and a life coach to help them to direct their lives and figure out what is it that they really want to do. And then for those who stay on to do the apprenticeship, we take them through a 6 to 10 week apprenticeship. So let's say a young man said, I want to be a plumber. We find a plumber, a professional plumber, and place him with that plumber for 6 to 10 weeks for internship, or should I say apprenticeship. And then from there are opportunities for mentorship for those who feel like they need a mentor to link with the older, more experienced guys. And it's good that we have mentors and masters, brand ambassadors from all different walks of life, from entrepreneurs to doctors, lawyers, bank managers, former commissioners of police, that type of thing. So it's a pilot project. And I'm pleased to see that we have gotten this far. We have graduated a class of about 200 young men in March. And we are now just closing off the M zones to assess the program, to make sure that what we had set out to do, we are accomplishing, or we are on the way or on the path to getting good results. I think we have some good results so far. We didn't get to this place as it relates to crime and neglect of men in one day or 1 year. So it's going to take some time to resolve, but at least we are sure that there's a platform for men to come out and have their voices heard, and a place that they can go to for direction.
What sort of feedback have you gotten since 2017, 2018 when this project started?
Well, it was just an idea and pen and paper in 2017, 2018, more 2018 than any other time, around February, March, when I started walking more aggressively places like Golden Lane and Plymouth. And in 2019, we launched in 2020, and then there was COVID. And we had to stop because it's a very touchy-feely, interactive type of program, and we had to stop. And then I moved from youth development over to Ministry of Sport and Community Development, so I had to get to move the program to community development. And we resumed last year, August. We had a cohort in Trinidad and a cohort in Tobago. We started off with 26 men in Tobago, and I think about 22 graduated and saw the program through the end. In Trinidad, we started with roughly 240 actually enrolling and signing up and being a part of the different groups, and we graduated about 180 in Trinidad. So I would say roughly 200, a little over 200 men made it all the way through, and I'm pretty pleased because in Trinidad we had some real difficult issues to deal with, like borderline issues, gang issues, but we had the support of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, the Army, and Ministry of National Security, both in Trinidad and Tobago. So we look forward to the assessment, and hopefully we get to run a second cycle of Empower TT in Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay, so this evening, and that's today, Tuesday, May 23rd,
Yes.
the discussion or the conversation will be centered around I Am Man.
Yes.
How do you select these topics?
Well, what I Am Man really is supposed to be is conversation about what you think a man is, because different people have a different idea as to what they
Yes.
think the role of a man is
Or
in
who
the
is-
household,
Now
in
the discussion is,
society.
who is a man?
Who is a man? And what is it that you think you need to do to feel like a man or consider yourself a man? And you get experiences from other men. So rather than call it the role of a man in society, we are not going to tell you the role. We are going to provide that space for you to say, I am man. And what is it that you think make you a man? Or what you think it is that makes a man? You know, we had to make the topics interactive and engaging so that people would come. Like, for instance, the topic on that treat with domestic violence and how you treat your family and your woman and so on. We call that cultivating a culture of respect, because we do not want to put domestic violence or call it out like that. Some people may feel strange leaving home to go to a forum on domestic violence. So in interacting with the men, they help us choose how we label the topics in a way that would attract other men and attract young men, so they would come out to the different sessions.
Most definitely. And how many men are you catering to later this evening?
We usually cater to about 80 men, and sometimes you get up to 120. So
the men are coming out?
They are coming out, especially in Tobago. I'm particularly pleased by what I've seen from different walks of life, different age groups. You have from 16, you have 70, 80-year-old. You have people like Jasper Jofi, who was my Standard 5 teacher at Scarborough Methodist School. He's there at every session giving his support. You had Collis Hazel, our Assistant Commissioner of Police. You had Julian Skeet, who had been a master since 2019, Kern Johnson, you name it, entrepreneurs, DJs, electricians, they're all coming out and sharing. And I must say, I'm happy by what I've seen, and people are feeling enlightened. And it's about going from one stage to the next, keeping the fire burning and keeping people on board, the young men on board in positive conversation.
So there seems to be a lot of focus on men and boys. This year for International Day of the Boy Child, the theme was boys and mental health. And then here you are now talking about Empower TT, catering again to men. Now, what is interesting is the location for this conversation later this evening. Barcode.
What better than Barcode? You know, what better than a bar? We want to take the conversation to places where men congregate.
Yes.
So last week we were on a street corner in Plemaja, and this week we're at Barcode. We had one at Barcode in 2020, and that was pretty good. The turnout was good. You come out, we pay a bill at Barcode, we sponsor the drinks, the eats, and so on. And people who come into the bar to line, they end up being a part of the conversation and they join in. So we're encouraging Tobagonians to come out and be a part.
Mentors, M-Zone mentors, masters, ambassadors, brand ambassadors. Give us an idea this morning, you know, in terms of the selection or identification. What do you refer to as M-Zone ambassadors and masters?
A brand ambassador, we look for men who have influence in the community or even influence on social media. So you have some entertainers, you have some persons who are coaches in their sports clubs, you have some teachers, and you have some entrepreneurs also. And they help us to bring out the members of their groups and of their communities. They are brand ambassadors. They help to hype the conversation, to keep the conversation going. So in a room or at an M zone, throughout the crowd, there are going to be brand ambassadors seated to help the conversation to keep going. The masters are the ones who are a master in a specific topic or have sound experience and knowledge in that specific topic. So they would share their experience. They would sit in the front on the and pretty much, you know, act as like facilitators of the conversation. So we have teachers, doctors. We have people like Darren White from Royal Bank. We have former Commissioner of Police, Jacobs. We have at least 100 brand ambassadors and masters volunteering their time. We have Pastor Luke Kwamina from Trinidad moving with us. We have Alpha Senon, who is doing good work in agriculture throughout the world. Joel Murray, Positive. You name it, they are moving right with us. You have Preedy, soca artists. So many people with different backgrounds moving and sharing their stories and encouraging other men to be positive and make proper decisions as they go about their lives.
I want to share with some of our viewers out there this morning. Back in April 27th in Chaguanas, the topic was crime and gang violence. May 4th, in Princestown, the topic was education, employment, and entrepreneurship. May 11th in Cyperia, fatherhood and mentorship. May 18th in Port of Spain, Government Campus Plaza. How can women support? And these are some interesting topics. Now, do you plan on doing another cycle of these set topics?
Yes.
Is it that the topics remain the same, the location, and maybe the grouping would change every year?
Oh no, we change the topics as we go from place to place. We start with one topic and we see how that topic goes at a specific location, and then the men of that location may ask for another topic and we would bring it. The thing is that the focus was on East Port of Spain and troubled areas or marginalized areas where you would see high crime in Trinidad, and we have Tobago as a part of the community recovery program because we want to make sure that Tobago remains safe, remains secure, and we work towards maintaining proper order in Tobago. Of course, we're having some challenges lately, and we have to continue to work with our young men. We can't give up on them. So the topics would move and change as we go from place to place, and as we close the curtains on this cohort or on this group of topics, we then go on to another cycle, hopefully come July. The assessment would take place at the end of May, or should I say in the month of June. We hope to be back out in July for another set of talks and a new cohort of men, taking them through the training and giving them the experience.
All right. Are there opportunities for other men to get involved in terms of men who believe that they've got what it takes to be a mentor?
Of course.
Got to, what it takes to give back. They want to give back. How can they become a part of this program?
They can reach out to the Ministry of Sport and Community Development, the Community Development Division, and just provide like a resume, a little background as to who they are and why they think, what they have to offer to the program. And sometimes somebody may recommend somebody else. For instance, we have pastors from the Anglican Church. The Anglican Church have a very strong men's union, and they reached out to us very early and got a number of their members on board. You have prison officers, police officers who have offered their time. So if you think that you have the time to spare, it's not paid, it's voluntary. All of it is voluntary. To come out and share and mentor, then we will be more than happy to have you on board. Of course, we try to do a little background check to make sure that you're in good order and we're safe with you.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, I just want to touch base here with the live and just to bring into the conversation some of what our online viewers are saying. Some viewers are saying, great job, wishing all success. JJ Allen says, the live skill sessions, the facilitator was great. Kelva Michelle says, Shamfukajo MP Tobago West right there with us. Annette McConey, well done. You are doing such a great job. Keep on, keeping on, standing strong. God's blessings upon you always. Live skill sessions, the facilitators are great. Lawrence Sizzle up on the live. A great topic, definitely. All right, Challenor Birchwood, you need to do, okay, no, this is not a part of it. Okay, Tobago Love. And others, commenting here, Jason Joseph, this woman is a gem. and they continue to share their stories. Love that the topics, this is Brittany Duncan, love that the topics are tailored to each community. Our young men really needed this initiative. Great program indeed. So congratulations going out to their minister.
Thank you very much, and thanks to Tobago and Trinidad for accepting and embracing the vision and moving along with us. As I said before, it's based on listening to what the people say they want and trying to craft a program in order to meet their needs. It has been very well received because as a woman, we have so many platforms to come out and share. It's something natural that we do. We talk. But somehow in all socialization and the way we culture and nurture boys, because sometimes we as women, we do it too. We tell men, don't cry. And if you do this, that means you're a girl. And, you know, so we have to go back and unlearn and unteach some things and provide that opportunity and that environment for men to tap into themselves and to really grow and become the men that we want them to be. We invest so much in that feminist movement and making women strong and expect men to learn it by the wayside. No, we have to make that investment also. So I'm happy that the program is making waves and we're getting good responses. So thank you.
All right, very quickly here, what time today does that program start?
I think we start at 5. At 5 at Barcode.
At Barcode.
We usually supposed to end at 7, but sometimes these talks go on to 8, 9, 10 o'clock. So come out from 5 o'clock and we will wrap up when we wrap up. Yes.
That's right. Men are talking. With regards on the Commonwealth Youth Games 2023, so you'll give us some information on what's happening.
Yes, I'm really excited about the Commonwealth Youth Games 2023. We call it Tobago 2023. As Minister of Sport and Community Development and Member of Parliament for Tobago West, I'm happy that these games are national in truth and in fact, because when the TTOC came to me in 2019 asking for the support of the government, I said, make sure that these games are taking place in Trinidad and Tobago. So we sent, at that time, Brian Lewis was the president of the TTOC, and we sent him over to Tobago to meet with the Tobago House of Assembly, and we got the okay and the approval. Jomo Pitt was Secretary of Sport at that time. And so we have some of the games taking place in Tobago and some in Trinidad, so that we could, Tobago and Trinidad could enjoy the action. As a matter of fact, we have 4 sporting disciplines taking place in Tobago and 3 in Trinidad. In Tobago, we're doing beach volleyball, the triathlon, netball, and rugby. And in Trinidad, we're doing athletics, cycling, and aquatics. Of course, the games take place between August 4th to 11th, and the athletes are going to be between the ages of 14 and 18. So we're really trying to ramp up and focus on using sport as a tool for development among young people and using it as a platform to ramp up sport in schools, so school-age children. That's a major part of our agenda. We're welcoming over 1,000 athletes from throughout the Commonwealth. That's over 72 countries, and these athletes have been training. They're excited to come to Trinidad and Tobago, so we look forward to hosting them. This provides good economic opportunity. So it's not only about the athletes. For hotel rooms, we're booking at least 5,000 hotel room nights to accommodate these athletes. These people are going to need food to eat, places to go, transportation, and so on. So for people who are offering these services, sport serve as a good platform, a good tool to generate economic activity. So we are seeing sport tourism at work by hosting these games. So I'm really excited. We've been working in collaboration with the Trinidad and Tobago Commonwealth Games Association, known to us as TTOC, and the Tobago House of Assembly, the Commonwealth Games Federation, and I'm happy to be Minister of Sport at this point in time because we're really utilizing sport as a tool for development both in Trinidad and in Tobago.
Okay, we're really happy to hear that, and we want to thank you so much for not forgetting Tobago. Not forgetting Tobago.
Yes. So far, so good. We want to encourage the youngsters to come out and volunteer. So far, we've had over 1,000 persons register to volunteer, to volunteer their services during the games. You have the Tobago House of Assembly. They also have set up their own little volunteer program for the Tobago side of it. I'm happy to see Tobago come alive, and the Tobago House of Assembly also excited about these games doing their part. They've set up a task force on this end that's headed by Mr. George Leacock, and they have the different units of the Assembly working together to make it happen. Of course, we're finalizing venues. We have a little challenge with the beach volleyball venue. The Tobago House of Assembly wants to use this new facility that they're working on in Blackrock. Of course, we know Pigeon Point was the approved location, and the House of Assembly is interested in having that change. And I said to the Assembly and to Commonwealth Games Federation, although the area is an environmentally sensitive site, this is a good platform and opportunity to show that environmental conservation and development can work hand in hand. So we are working on ways to make it environmentally sound and hopefully get it completed in time for the games. We are about under 80 days to the games. Wow. So the Assembly has to move very quickly. We are waiting for approval from the Commonwealth Games Federation as it relates to that facility, because you can't just jump up and change facilities. So whilst the Assembly is adamant about having that specific location, we still have to wait on the approval of the local organizing committee and the Commonwealth Games Federation, because if there are any hiccups or any challenges, the government stands liability as sole guarantor. So we want to make sure everything runs smoothly, and the THA finally submitted a certificate for environmental clearance last week, Friday, and we're hoping that that clearance is granted by June 5th so that we can move speedily ahead in getting the different facilities ready, and hopefully we get to do beach volleyball at Blackrock, but we can't say so for sure just yet. We have to await the approval of the Commonwealth Games Federation. So I'm excited. I'm excited about all that is to happen in Tobago for Commonwealth Games. This is the first time Trinidad and Tobago is hosting a major multi-sport event, and the first time the Commonwealth Youth Games will be held in the Caribbean region. So we're really excited. It's a big deal for us.
All right. Well, thank you again, Minister Ashamfa Kudjo, for being on the program with us this morning.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me, Ria. And, I have one more thing. We are partnering with the Bankers Association of Trinidad and Tobago, Ministry of Sport and Community Development. And today we are at Canaan, a community center, from 9:30, teaching financial literacy, financial capability, helping people to learn how to save and how to invest their money properly, because all that is a part of community development. Yesterday we were in Signal Hill. We were pleased with the turnout, so we're inviting Tobagonians, entrepreneurs, senior citizens who are interested in learning and banking online, credit cards, credit lines, and so on. It's all free. So please come out to Canaan Community Center today and join with the Ministry of Sport and Community Development and Bankers Association of Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you.
Now, the minister, she used the opportunity to squeeze everything in, all right, because she's not often here. So, of course, we had to allow for that. Thank you again.
My absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Indeed. There was lots more coming up this morning on the Tobago Updates morning show. So remember to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Our national borders, our first step to security, but a possible access point for guns, drugs, crime. If it does not look right, do the right thing. Call Crime Stoppers anonymously. 800-8477. Report possible border crime.
It's a different type of thing down there. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago. Yes, be careful.
Honey, I feel we are going to start to cook, yes? Because these children must be hungry now. Right? Okay.
Oh, shucks. Oh. These plugs, oh my gosh.
Hey, Richard, hey, come from there, come from there.
What's going on in here?
Oh God, I should have buy exhibition, boy. What would you do if this happened to you? Dial 990 in case of fire emergencies and always have a serviceable fire extinguisher ready and available at all times.
Advertise with Tobago Updates. Call 284-6597. If you have a small or large business, we can get your information in front of the masses. Reach our rapidly growing viewership on Facebook and YouTube. Promote your brand in Trinidad and the Caribbean through M&E TV Now and Gayel. Yes, we can build unique ads for your business. Call now 284-6597 and advertise with us.
Excel Spa by Haley, where our highly trained staff are ready to deliver the top-class services in facial massages, waxing, nail enhancement and body treatment. We are ideally located at Coco Avenue, Switzerland, Tobago. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TripAdvisor, or you can call us on 730-0149. Exhale Spa by Haley. Relax, renew, and rejuvenate.
Tobago will never be the same. It's coming strong, but it's tired. This little piggy is tired. It's finally here, Tobago. The adult-only comedy that played to sold-out houses across Trinidad is finally in Tobago. One night only. Saturday, June 3rd at 8:30 p.m. at the Shore Park Complex. Tickets available at advertised outlets. Check press and social media for details. Tobago, the Bacchanal Week.
Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry. If you're nice, can't get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil will always be here for you.
Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning.
Viewers, welcome back this morning to the Tobago Updates morning show. We are chatting this morning with Rianne Lindsay, who is the managing director of Emotions Dance Productions. And this morning, the lovely Kyra Becker. Kyra, got it right. Kyra Becker, who's one of the dancers, is also on the program with us. And this morning, it's all about emotions. They'll tell us more about it. Now, let's start this morning with you, Ms. Lindsay, Rianne Lindsay, Managing Director of Emotions Dance Production. Give us a quick idea of who you are. Where did you come from? What is your background in dance?
All right. Good morning to you, Ria, and good morning to Trinidad and Tobago specifically. We're Rianne Lindsay, Managing Director of the Across the Floor Dance Company. I've been in existence for over 15 years. I am the choreographer. Yes, I am the brains behind the company, but I do get assistance from time to time. I would have studied away as a little girl in New York City, For quite a number of years, and then I came back to Tobago and basically studied with urban ritual and Tima back in Bacalet. And I decided I wanted to open my own dance company. So we specialize in a variety of different styles of dance: ballet, contemporary, jazz, hip hop, tap, and the list goes on.
Now, and I'm glad that you said jazz here. Do you perform jazz dances during the jazz in Tobago?
Well, no, not
We need to include dance in the jazz.
That's right.
Come
I
on,
agree.
We need to include jazz dancing. Come on.
I agree. So that's a nice avenue where persons who knows, we may be able to be on the jazz, doing a jazz style of dance.
That's right.
Who knows, that may be something in the works in the future.
All right. Now, I want to ask you here, I mean, in terms of you shared a little bit about your background. Do you dance as well? You teach dance. You're one of the main teachers?
I am the only teacher in the company, but from time to time we collaborate, or we intend to continue to collaborate with different groups and persons. Actually, for this show, we are in collaboration with 2 persons. T-Park is one, and also with Miss Miriam Scott.
Yeah. All right, so we're doing dance. I want to chat a little bit here with
Kyra.
Kyra, I've got to get it. I do have a lovely niece named Kyra. So Kyra Becko. Let's talk with you. You are one of the dancers. How long did you start with the company?
First of all, good morning, host, and good morning to all our viewers. I have been a part of the Across the Floor Dance Company for approximately 6 years.
Mm-hmm. Approximately 6 years.
Yes.
Now, I'm looking at you, and I don't want to judge, but you should be anywhere around
12.
Just about 12, so you started pretty early. You started pretty early. And what drew you to dance?
Well, my mom was dancing before.
Right.
And she's the one who got me into dancing. So that's when I joined the company with her. At first, I was complaining, but then I realized what the whole dance concept with Antirian was. It's a really fun experience.
Yeah.
So I enjoy dancing with her.
And when you dance, tell us what is in your mind. What does dance do for you?
Dance makes me feel so free. It makes me feel like I could do anything. It helps me build my character, build my courage. I really enjoy dancing. That's where I find my happy place.
That's where you find your happy place. I like you. I like you a whole lot. You know, and I just need to let our viewers know this morning that you are the daughter. Tell us who your grandmother is, because I think most persons can identify with your grandmother more so than your parents. So tell our viewers this morning who your grandmother is.
Well, my grandmother, her name is Angelita Dillon Becko. Angelita Dillon, I'll say that for now.
You know, the thing is, most persons associate the Becko. They know the Becko. They know the Dillon, but that Becko name, that Becko surname, yes.
Yes. And she was a nurse in her early ages.
Yes. I like what she said in her early ages. Yes, and she was associated with the health center in Canaan.
I'm not really sure.
You're not too sure. That's where I think I can remember her from. Most definitely. All right, so we got that there. So tell us about this dance production, and we're going to save some questions because we got some giveaways, viewers. We got some giveaways this morning. You can win a ticket to this dance production, and so Kyra is going to give the questions for you to win a ticket or two. And maybe we can put that question out there while we continue the interview. So what would be the first question that you'd like to give our viewers to respond to? And viewers, you can respond by texting to our WhatsApp or WhatsApping us on 284-6597. We can WhatsApp the response to see if you can win a ticket to the, and I've got it here, Across the Floor Emotions Dance production. Yes. All right, and that's the flyer up there. So go ahead, Kyra, what's the first question?
The first question is, what are some of the dances? Name 3 dances that we'll be doing for the production.
Yeah, 3 styles of dance, correct.
That's right. So you can send the information there to the WhatsApp number. It's 284-6597. Send it now. Right. So we're talking about dance. Now, give us an idea of where this is happening and when.
Well, this is at Shore Park. Emotions, Movement of the Heart is the full name of the show. Production, Emotions, Movement of the Heart Dance Production. It's at Shore Park this Saturday. Yes, correct. This Saturday, the 27th of May at Shore Park, 7 p.m. sharp. Tickets are only $100. Children 10 and under, pay $50 at the door. 3 and under are free.
Okay, so get your tickets now. And
Yes.
where can they purchase these tickets?
Tickets can be purchased at Shaw Park box office. Any parents who they know will be performing, they have tickets as well. Or they can call me at 391-2816. That is 391-2816.
All right, and tell us about some of your sponsors, because I understand an event such as this, it's no easy feat. You didn't do it on your own.
That is correct. By no means did I do this on my own, and I cannot. I have to always appreciate the sponsors who come in time after time and help us.
Okay.
So some of our sponsors are Parks International Limited, Total Gates and Graphics, Marine Engineering Limited, Tobago Media Concept, AD 360, Everything Technology, Concrete Projects Group, Castle Vista, RBC Royal Bank, MP Independent Store, Lambo Credit Union, the Smokehouse Tobago. I would like to thank TPAC, Miss Rachel Pierre, Miss Miriam Scott, and the whole ATF family and friends and the parents who were dedicated time after time, rehearsal after rehearsal. You hear my voice going, Rhea?
Yes.
My voice going. But the parents are very sacrificed. They sacrifice so much to allow their children to be a part of this show. Even the adults as well, who come after work to rehearsals and stay long hours. We really, really appreciate it, and it wouldn't go unnoticed, because on the night, you will see where all the hard work went.
Most definitely. I'm understanding from our director that we do have a response on WhatsApp. And give us that name. Someone says jazz, ballroom, and tap.
Yes, that's
all right.
right.
Somebody's been listening. Somebody's been listening. And the name is? Okay, we're going to get that person's name. We're going to get that person's name.
Congratulations. Whoever that person is, congratulations. You just won yourself a free ticket to the Emotions Movement of the Heart dance production.
Okay, our director would have the person's number and the person's name, and so we're going to get that information. But they can collect the ticket here with some form of ID. They will be able to collect their ticket right here. So look at that! You just won a ticket to this dance production, and this is really awesome. Remind us again, how can persons contact you? Because I'm thinking after this interview, for persons out there who did not know that you existed, they're going to want to have their girls and boys to become a part of it.
Correct. So they can contact me at 391-2816. That's my cell number, 391-2816. We are also on Instagram, TATFDC. Those are the abbreviation of the company's logo. The Across the Floor Dance Company, TATFDC. May I mind you, Rhea, this show is an international show. What do I mean by that? I mean, we are streaming it internationally. So persons who can't come to the venue, perhaps they're in Trinidad or abroad, they can still view the show as well. So if persons are interested in seeing the show, but they can't be at Shaw Park, they can call me at 391-2816, and they can also get a link so that they can be able to view the show, or go on vibes.live, and they can be able to view the show there.
This is awesome.
Yes.
This is really good. So I want to say congratulations to you, and all the best to you, Miss Becker and Miss Lindsay.
Thank you.
All right, so you've got to be ready for this coming weekend, ready for Saturday.
Yes.
All right, so all the best to you again. Viewers, we thank you for joining us. We've got lots more coming up on the Tobago Updates morning show, so share the live, share the live, share the live.
The Across the Floor Dance Company presents Emotions, Movement of the Heart dance production on Saturday, May 27th at the Shaw Park Complex. Come see dances of all genres. Seating at 6:30 p.m. Show starts promptly at 7 p.m. Tickets are only $100. Children 10 and under pay $50 at the door. Tickets are available at Shaw Park Complex box office, or please call 391-2816 for more information. This is an event for the entire family.
Are you looking for a place for your loved ones? Heavenly Care welcomes you. Located at Northside Road opposite Massey Motors, we offer a variety of services. These include doctor visitations, social activities, geriatric care, and much more. Contact us at 277-9595 or visit us at Northside Road opposite Massey Motors. At Heavenly Care, compassion is at the heart of all care.
Welcome to Limache Parfait Day Spa, your urban oasis and wellness center. Our services includes massages, treatments, facials, pedicures, weight management, detox programs, and much more. Call us today at 624-1452 or 720-7474. Trinidad locations and Bonacore, Tobago at 273-7772. Let us treat you like the VIP you are.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
I saw a day of no division or competition, oh yeah. And I saw a time there was no envy, was no strife, no denomination, no walls to keep us from one another. We had love in our hearts. We were all sisters. We're all brothers. 'Cause when we all get together, what a day it's gonna be. When we all see Jesus, we're gonna sing and shout the victory.
Viewers, welcome back to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. We're chatting this morning with Pastor Mackenzie of the Tobago Mission of SDA. And this morning our focus is on the SDA in Gathering 2023. Now, from what we saw there, Pastor Mackenzie, you guys have been doing a lot of work.
Yes, indeed. Of course, the In-Gathering campaign, wherever a local Seventh-day Adventist congregation is located, that is their mission field. And of course, the In-Gathering campaign really speaks to the needs of the members of the community and even some members of the church. And we try to address that in a specific and a real target and focused way.
In-Gathering, what does the name mean?
Well, In-Gathering got its name from a sailor named Jasper Wayne in 1903. He wanted to support missionaries going abroad. So he purchased some magazines. He got some shipments of magazines, and right in the post office, he busted open and began to distribute these magazines and ask for a contribution. And in that year, he was able to raise $30,000. And he continued to do it week after week, and it began to grow. And he recommended it to his church, the organization, and they said, "Man, listen, we're going to adopt that initiative to support missionaries going abroad and so on." But of course, while we focus on mission abroad, there's also mission here
at home.
So the In-Gathering campaign is an opportunity for members of the community to contribute to the humanitarian services of the church. Right? We partner with members of the community at this point we take contributions and so on, and we partner together so that we can alleviate some of the distresses that are existing in our society.
Now, in terms of some of what you do, because I'm looking back at it, and you cater to the single mothers, women in the community, the children in the community, the seniors in the community. What do you not do?
Well, of course, but the In-Gathering Fund goes primarily to three areas, right? It goes to education, which take in the children, covers the area of the children.
Yeah.
It takes in also what we call community outreach, and you can say disaster, both locally and internationally. Because if you can remember, some years ago, we had some volcanic activity over in our neighboring island, I think St. Vincent.
St. Vincent, yes.
And amongst the first religious organization to respond was the Seventh-day Adventist Church. We were already mobilized and we got stuff to send some form of relief. When persons have fires and these things here, we try to reach out to them as quickly as possible and so on. Of course, there's work that is always ongoing in Tobago and even in Trinidad, and we try our best to assist and be proactive in assisting folks in their time of need. Of course, we help with scholarships for young children, ensure that persons who are not in a position to make that particular afford that particular access to the child, we make sure that access is provided. And you mentioned the moms, our women's ministries director, Sister Jamila Nichols, in a woman of prayer. She recognized that a lot of our women still stand vulnerable in society, and they're single moms. So she came up with this initiative called VIP Moms, whereby she's ministering to single mothers who are really, really struggling. And she would have come up with this wonderful initiative where contributions are made to these families to help, restore some measure of balance and strengthen their journey as they continue. Let them know you might be a single parent, but you're not alone.
You're not alone, most definitely. And I really love that. Now, when and where is In Gathering 2023 taking place?
Now, we have launched In Gathering 2023 on the 6th of May, and it's going to be running until the 17th of June. Right, running for 6 weeks. Sometimes we extend to for additional week to make sure that all the collections are made. All right. Normally, the bulk of the collection goes to the headquarters where we take care of international needs, and on a national level, we focus on that type of care. While there is a percentage of the funds that would stay with the local congregation to focus on the immediate need in that specific community. So all Seventh-day Adventist personnel, you might see them with these little white cards coming around to you, some magazines, and they're talking with you. And of course, as they let you know what we are doing and what this campaign is about. And of course, they're asking for a contribution. So please, members of the community of Tobago, please don't see it as somebody trying to pull some sort of fast one on you. It's the church actively working to alleviate some of the challenges faced by our society.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it is going back into the community.
That's correct.
All right, each one help one. All right, so I really want to thank you this morning. And this is all happening. So again, persons are coming to you, and you've got to be so careful, I know, when persons are coming to your home to request contributions. Right. I know you got to be careful. So I guess they'll be showing some form of ID. To indicate who they are.
Yes, of course. The cards that you have, it's most of them are stamped by the local congregation. So you have it's an official card. It's not just in the hands of anybody. It's officially stamped, and most of the times these are persons who are already well known in their communities. So when you're canvassing, when you're out there talking to people, if needs be, a person might ask you to identify yourself. Probably you can say who you are, where you're from, and that sort of thing. Because this is a regular thing by the church, and it is known by many in Tobago and even around the world that during the year, one point in the year, we do have this Harvest and Gathering campaign. And we come around and we allow members of the community to be blessed by giving back to their very own communities.
Most definitely. And Pastor Mackenzie, I do want to thank you this morning for taking the time to chat with us, because you guys are doing a lot of groundwork, and I think that's where it's needed.
Yes,
yeah? All right. Thank you again for being on the program with us this morning, and all the best to you.
And thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right. Well, viewers, we're going to leave it there for today. We want to thank you so much for joining us here this morning for the Tobago Updates morning show. Coming up, we've got GMT with Candace. And just to remind you here that the Honorable Marvin Gonzalez is going to be on the program this morning, and that's Minister of Public Utilities. So quite an interesting discussion coming up there with Candace and the Minister. We want to thank you again for joining us. Be safe on the roads. I'm hearing the rain. So just be careful out there. We've got Tobago Notes coming up as well. So have a great day, Tobago, and we will see you back here on Thursday. We've got tomorrow's Wednesday. We've got Youth Wednesday on tomorrow. So stay safe. Bye-bye, everybody.
On December 16 in 1903, Jasper Wayne, a traveling salesman from Sioux City, Iowa, started the first In-Gathering campaign after he found he could raise money for missions from non-Adventist businessmen. The idea spread, and in its first year, In-Gathering raised $30,000, a lot of money by the standards of the time, and enabled 25 new missionaries to be sent overseas.
That's exactly how In-Gathering began. By Brother Wayne in 1903. He got a shipment of magazines, went to the post office and gave them out to his neighbors and friends in exchange for small monies. Do you know that within 10 days he got another shipment and did the exact same thing? His magazines went quickly and he was so excited to spread the word of the Lord and get money for missions. So much so, he shared it with General Conference, which made it official in 1908. Praise the Lord. And In-Gathering is the same for us today. Yes, in Tobago Mission, we do In-Gathering here. We're so excited to help our brothers and sisters. The monies we collect go towards welfare, disaster and famine, and education. We're able to help our community, to love our neighbors. We help our members, the persons within our communities. We help them with medical expenses, food, house repairs, education. We give out hampers. We really love you can feel. Don't you think you want to be a part of this? Yes, it's time to be a part of Harvest In-Gathering, which is now referred to as In-Gathering campaign because in 1942, the General Conference dropped the harvest prefix. Let's love our neighbors, calling all Seventh-day Adventists from far and wide, whether you're from Charlottesville or from Crown Point. Once you're a Tobago Seventh-day Adventist member, this is our thing. Yes, this is the time that we give back to our community. Collect funds, share it. Do you know that the Tobago Mission has been giving more than $250,000 back to the community every year? Oh yes. Whether you're young on age or young at heart, once you belong to the community, tell your friends, tell your family members, contact your neighbors, your co-workers. Man, speak to your boss and your boss's boss. Oh yes, you must be a part of this, man. You have to be a part of this venture. Collect your In-Gathering magazines and your cards at a Seventh-day Adventist church near you. Let's be able to do what we did last year and extend it and give way more back to our community. We have so many more needs.
Welcome to this historical occasion, the first of its kind throughout the nation. Today, we opening the Mill Ruin site. This place is a sure delight to tell all stories and tales about the ancestors and the old-time days. So sit back, relax, and listen well to a wee version of the plantation that we will now tell. Beat your drum, Mr. Drummer.
We want to make our product here at Little Secondary School, this experience, marketable, and something that can be incorporated with the tour service providers and hoteliers and so on as a viable tourist attraction.
I see this as a comprehensive package for any visitor, and not just cruise visitors. You know, we have a number of domestic tourists who are also going to enjoy product offerings like this.
The Mill Ruin experience at the Goodwood Secondary School gives visitors the opportunity to purchase local art, craft, and delicacies while enjoying dramatic presentations.
We intend to up our marketing campaign, creating the awareness that there is indeed a Mill Ruin experience available to the public here. and that this experience is one with a difference because it brings the youth in focus.
I am very excited to know that we're the first school in Tobago that actually have something like that.
The ancestors must be smiling because of we learning instead of toiling. The land they used to work, now house is a school of substance and words. We, their offsprings, if to tell their tale of the ruins that still remain. So we owe it to our forefathers to showcase their efforts in the present and future. Beat your job, Mr. Jamal.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
Yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denasia.
Let's go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks a favor to wake up and hear my neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power, we are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers, we are melanated ones. We special and there is no.
Welcome to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates, your source for current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad, and the region. With the perfect conversations to complement your morning routine, I am Candace Jackson, and let's get started with the news in 90 seconds. The Tobago Council of the PNM, Ansel Dennis, promised supporters that the party is ready to rescue Tobago from the reins of the Fali Augustin-led THA. He was speaking at a political meeting in Buku recently. According to Dennis, the party had enough time for introspection and evaluation following the 14-1 defeat at the December 2021 THA elections. Following that evaluation, Dennis stated that the Tobago Council of the PNM learned lessons and is now ready to better serve Tobagonians. Meanwhile, the Tobago West MP, Shamfa Kajo, called on Tobagonians to not be fooled by the utterance of the current administration. According to Kajo, Chief Secretary Fali Augustin is not being truthful about the execution of some infrastructural projects within the communities. Pointing out a bridge project in Grandy Gully, Goodwood, Kajo said that the Self-Help Commission provided the funding to help with the construction in 2021, but accused the current administration of the THA of first delaying it and then mishandling it, which is now causing some problems for one resident. She said it was just one example of many to prove that Augustin and his team are failing to keep the promises made on the campaign trail. And finally, National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hines urged the media to make a greater effort in the sensitization of the public to the dangers of guns and drugs. He made a call while addressing reporters at a function yesterday. According to Hines, the media should do more than just report on crime and violence. Instead, they should disseminate information about the dangers of weapons. He said he would like to see the cooperation of media to not only highlight the risks of crime, but also what can be done by citizens to safeguard their communities and to aid the government's crime-fighting efforts. And that was the news in 90 seconds. Well, viewers, yes, we have a whole lot happening in the space, but I want to touch in with a little something that's been happening in Guyana. Recently, yesterday, you would have seen that we touched base with some of our colleagues across there with what was happening with that devastating fire at a secondary school. And, you know, just a little updates. In case you were wondering, we're finding out that now the death toll, unfortunately, was 19 students at that school, 18 girls and one boy, and we're finding out that, you know, the initial findings of the fire report is that it might have been malicious. The fire might have been malicious, and it just makes the situation so much sadder and so much more heartbreaking. These are 19 families that are now in mourning. There's a lot more injuries at that school. So, our thoughts and prayers continue to be out with the people of Guyana at this point in time. Now, turning our focus to some conversations at hand, we have on set, we are very privileged to have on set with us this morning the Minister of Public Utilities, Mr. Marvin Gonzalez. Good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning, and thank you very much for having me, and good morning to all your viewers and the people of Tobago and Trinidad and Tobago.
And accompanying him, we also have Mr. Brian Williams from WASA, head of the Tobago Vision Division of WASA. Good morning and welcome to you, sir.
Pleasant good morning. Thank you for having us, and we hope that we have an informative interaction and it benefits the listeners.
And you're saying this morning that we have the minister all decked out in WASA gear because something very special is going to be happening in Tobago today. So tell me about that first of all.
So we have 3 important assignments during the course of today. The first thing we are doing is we are going to turn the sword for the construction of a major pipeline, transmission pipeline from Lambo Signal Hill to the Apex building, which is the Storby Local Road, is a 7.4 kilometer, 16-inch transmission line that is geared towards improving the supply of water in the area of southwest Tobago. Of course, that area is heavily populated, where most of your guest houses, hotels, etc. are located. And especially in the peak season, the transient population are located in that particular area. It can grow to almost 90,000 persons over one weekend. And this is the area that we get a lot of complaints, especially during the dry season, because the water from the Colon water treatment plant would fall considerably as a result of dry season conditions. And those guest houses and the citizens who live there would experience quite critical shortage of water. So
Yes.
we are going to turn the sword for the construction of that major transmission line. We are also going to turn the sword for the start of the drilling of 2 or 3 new wells in the Bad Hill St. Mary's area that is geared towards increasing the production of water for the people in that area as well as in southwest Tobago. So you have a transmission line that is going to be constructed. You have the drilling of a new or 2 new groundwater wells, which would increase the production of water that the new line will be able to transmit into those communities. And the last assignment we have is the commissioning of the desilting of the Hillsborough Dam. That project has been on the cards for over 15 or 20 years. Right? It started sometime early last year or year before. It was impacted, unfortunately, on the incoming of COVID,
Right.
where we had a lot of restrictions in the construction sector and what have you. But despite the COVID restrictions, we were able to complete the project 88 days ahead of schedule time.
I want to stick a pin there because I need to disaggregate some of these projects and get into some details.
Sure.
Now, first of all, the project that's supposed to service the new pipeline to service Southwest Tobago, does this mean that the residents, the guest houses, everybody on that side of the island, would they be experiencing 24-hour supply? And I'm going to ask Mr. Williams if you can explain a bit.
All right. The challenge that we normally have in supplying the southwest of the EU is that it is supplied by the Colon water treatment plant. But as the dry season progresses, the flows fall off so that we are unable to abstract and supply in the required quantities. That challenge is exacerbated by the fact that we are limited in our ability to take water from neighboring areas who would be water rich, who would not have as adverse and who would not have been affected as adversely to get it into the system. What the pipeline does is that we have some wells along the highway, the Cloudnell wells, the wells that's opposite Pentecostal Light and Life, Colour Hall, Bacalet, and this new well that we are about to, what are the new wells we are about to drill in Signal Hill, that will allow us to take water from that well's field and put it in the Crown Point on the Colon system from the end point. Because Colon normally sends it down Buku, Blackrock, and come back up to Storby Local Road. With this initiative, this pipeline, and in co with the water from the wells, allows us to take water and put it into the system where it is most needed, at the time it is most needed. So what it does, it improves the level of service and allows us to work towards the 24-hour system.
So
that you're
not
hearing.
yet 24 hours. So, okay, if it's not 24 hours, then how frequent?
All right. Let me see this then. Let me answer the question as asked. The organization is aiming towards, in the first instance, improving the level of service across the island and the country to a minimum of 24 hours a day, 3 days a week, in aggregate for everybody, and then climbing from there. Coupled with that is the intent and the expectation that these changes will be sustainable so that we ain't going backwards. So the initial intent is to ensure that the Sincere Street and Kane and those areas that would normally see trouble because of the distance from the transmission, the source, their supply will go up to minimum. We will exceed the mark is now at 24.3, ensuring that we guarantee a year-round 24.3 minimum supply, and we're going up and away from there. So I hope that speaks to.
Well, let's sort of answer the questions. Is there sort of a timeline? Minister, did you put a timeline as to, when can we expect in Tobago, especially in some of those areas that are very challenged,
So
to get to that 24?
So even before today and the commencement of these projects that will positively impact the supply of water in Southwest Tobago, Mr. Williams will confirm that we commissioned a new booster station at Chauvin Road, the Chauvin Road booster, or the Patino's booster, as it was called originally. And the commissioning of that booster would have already resulted in an improvement in the supply of water in the southwestern area of Tobago. Before that booster, the area was serviced by 24/1, getting water one day a week or 2 days a week. And with the commissioning of that booster, you have increased pressures, and you have approximately 24/3 supply of water. These projects, the pipeline project in particular, is expected to be completed in 45 to 50 days. So we have a team of young engineers, trainee engineers, that we deployed to ensure that you have proper project management, that the project is properly and professionally executed with less impact on the communities that we intend to see an improvement in the water supply. But of course, these things can have a little disruption in your traffic and other environmental issues. So these young engineers and the support services that we put in place would be to minimize the level of disruption whilst we seek to complete this work in 45 to 50 days when that transmission line is expected to be completed. Once it is completed, in addition to the work that we have already done by the construction of that Chauvin Road booster, we also propose to undertake major upgrade work to the Colon water treatment plant to increase productivity there. The new well fields that Brian spoke about and the new wells that we are going to be drilling will bring added water into the system. We are going to be very close to a 24/7 supply of water. A very important point to note, however, because the population has been placed on water restrictions and water scheduling for so long, a lot of people invested in storage tanks. And so whilst you may not be getting water flowing through your distribution system from WASA 24/7, when people get their water, if it's 2 days a week, 3 days a week, or 4 days a week, most of the water is not really consumed at the point in time. It goes into their storage, and they do have access to clean, portable water 24/7.
Certainly.
You understand?
Yes.
So I understand the 24/7 question, but remember, if you have a 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 gallon storage on your system, whenever you get water from WASA, most of that water goes into your storage. And whilst, yes, you may be getting water on a schedule of 3 days a week, 4 days a week, you have access to 24/7 because of the storage that you would have invested in. So you have to look at 24/7 in that context.
So does this mean that that WASA is abandoning that mantra, that vision that has been there since probably the 1960s of that water for all, 24-hour service, water for all? Are we moving away from that?
No, certainly. That the key is that people must have access, and communities must have access to 24/7 water. In Trinidad and Tobago, you have, at this point in time, 50% of the population enjoys a 24/7 water supply. Then the other 50%, you have people who get water 24/6, 24/5, 24/4, 24/3, and it comes...
which is mostly 24/3 in Tobago.
Exactly. So what you try to do is to keep improving, but there are areas, unfortunately, that get water under 24/3. So based on limited financial resources available, understand, it is better you channel your limited financial resources to get those communities that are under 24/3 to a minimum of 24/3. And whilst you do that, as we're doing here, you improve your network to be able to move around the supply of water easily. Unfortunately, it is not easy to move around water in Tobago. So you're improving your connectivity, you are improving your transmission system, where it will be easy to take water from a water-rich area into a water-scarce area. And by so doing, you would see communities that are getting water 24/3 easily moving to a 24/5, 24/6. And as you go about that network improvement, you inch to the 24/7 target.
Certainly. No, I mean, I know, okay, I might be a little bit wrong here, but Hillsborough provides 15% of the water in Tobago at this point in time. Or has that changed?
I'm not too sure of the percentage. Brian will be able to tell you, or will confirm, but it provides and supplies about 12 to 15,000 customers. 200, it was designed to accommodate 225 million gallons. And because of the lack of maintenance over the years, that capacity dropped and resulting in the need to desilt the dam.
Right, which began in 2020.
It began in 2020. It was completed last year. It was tested. And the dam is now approximately 95% back to its design capacity of 225 million gallons of water. And Brian will also confirm that we now have 22 extra days of storage in that dam. So much so that within the dry season, all of the communities that are fed off the Hillsborough Dam will not place on any water restriction, because during this very intense dry season, Hillsborough was able to produce 1.4 million gallons of water, stayed above its long-term average because the dam increased in capacity, and the result of that work was felt by the communities during this rainy season. And what we are looking to do as well, as this desilting component is completed, we are going to upgrade the water treatment capacity at the Hillsborough Dam so that we'll be able to extract perhaps 2 million gallons of water per day. So you have the capacity to get even 500,000 gallons of water more per day from the successful desilting of the dam, so that communities can now see a further improvement in their supply.
No, I know that there's an overflow facility built in the dam, and that has not quite been maintained over the years. Has there been any improvements done to that? Is there a plan for that so that we could harvest more water? Especially, I mean, we saw last year with the heavy rains, it was overflowing. And I think the overflow was overflowing, if I'm not mistaken.
Brian?
All right. To speak to the concerns you had, Hillsborough Dam does, in Tobago, we do about between 12 and 14 million gallons of water per day. Hillsborough Dam does 1.4 million, that is 10%. So that speaks to the initial question, right? The Hillsborough Dam is strategically important in that because it's at the elevation above sea level and the configuration of the plant, in the event that we have a, God forbid, a natural disaster, we have power outage for a while, we are able, because of the location, we can still provide a supply to a large portion, a geographical area of the population, who are at a low, so we can look by gravity because of the elevation. So it's strategically important. Having regard to the question you just asked me, there we are at this point. The spillway, you're asking about the overflow. There is a spillway that is built into the Hillsborough Dam, it speaks to the engineering. The dam has an impounding volume which has a limit. We don't want the pressures to climb above a certain amount. And the pressures will increase on the impounding wall, will increase as the levels go. So the spillway has been built in to ensure that once you get to that critical 250 million gallons, which is when the reservoir is full, that it flows over. The spillway which you refer to is designed in a cascading like a waterfall, yes. And that also is tied into the engineering that allows for you to break the energy of the water as it comes over, so you don't have flooding and washing away further downstream.
But is there a use for that water currently?
All right. There is at present, to answer your first question before I move to this one, there is a contract has been developed, and with respect to strengthening doing some work on the spillway and retaining it to its original beauty, because it really does look lovely. It is functional, and we have explored the options of impounding more water, but the challenges are, as I started by saying, the pressures, the stresses on the impounding reservoir, if you attempt to impound more water than you do at this point, you run the risk of the dam breaking. All right? But let me just say this, the water that escapes during the rainy season that passes over the top, we have a small plant at Green Hill, which within the minister will get into the community, the CWIP program, where we have earmarked a small project to improve the Green Hill intake. Well, you're familiar with it. That's where Warner's Quarry is there. There's a little intake at Green Hill, and we capture water that goes past the Hillsborough Dam. We capture that water down there. Deal with Mount St. George and Scarborough, those areas. You have underground 320,000 impure gallon storage. We capture that same water, put inside there, and we Mount St. George, John Dial. So we do have processes in place to ensure that what goes past the spill, as you asked, is captured and put to good and proper use.
All right. Now, I mean, I kind of want to move away from that part for a little bit, because we have to tackle the issue of, the way how WASA operates within our road system. And I know you've gotten this question many times, but Minister, what real action are you putting in place to ensure that when WASA goes through these roads, they are not workmen against asphalt?
But first, let me tell you, we do not have utility corridors or much utility corridors. We are inheritance of our past colonial days, where most of our utilities are placed below our road surface, unfortunately. All utility companies around the world, they grapple with aging infrastructure and leaks, etc. Breakage, earth movements, all of these things contribute to your infrastructure being compromised from one time or the other. What we have started to do over the years, especially over the last 2 years, is to identify those high leakage lines for replacement. And over the last 2 years, we have replaced a number of high leakage lines across the country, because the data will show the lines that are prone to leakage. Some of those lines are underground for over 70 years, 80 years. This case maybe it certainly doesn't make any sense to continue to repair them, because they will not guarantee to stay up because of their age.
And the holes continue to be redug.
Exactly. And then people are going to be aggravated, and they will complain about WASA, workmen against asphalt, and all of these things. So it's a multi-pronged approach. We have to remove those aging infrastructure and those lines that are high leakage. Once you do that, you deploy technology to manage pressures, because a main contributing factor to leaks on your distribution and transmission system is that amount of pressure that you apply in those lines. Those lines certainly cannot, a lot of those lines, because of their age, certainly cannot accommodate the amount of pressure that you put into them to get water to sometimes the highest elevations. So we are investing in technology to manage pressures. We have already started deploying data loggers to monitor your pressures, make sure that your pressures stay within certain confined limits so that it will not cause any breakage on your system. And as we improve the supply of water across the board and reduce water scheduling, most of the lines will be charged. So you will not have a situation in many instances where lines have to go dry because of water scheduling, and then it has to be recharged again with a lot of pressures and air. All of these things, hammering and all of these things, they contribute to high leakage. So it's a multi-pronged approach. Removal of your aging infrastructure, deployment of technology to manage your pressures, increase water production so that your lines will be fully charged. And once that is done, you have less incidents of leaks on your system. We have already eradicated the backlog of leaks. I'm happy to tell you that. And because of the collaboration that we are now having with some of our partners in the private sector that has access.
And this is for Tobago, right?
That is Tobago and Trinidad.
Okay.
In Tobago, fortunately, WASA has a very good relationship with the Tobago House of Assembly. I think the Tobago House of Assembly has its own quarry, and they have access to some of the asphalt. Unlike in Trinidad, WASA in Trinidad does not own an asphalt plant, and it's very difficult to get the asphalt at the appropriate time to do expeditious road restoration after leaks are repaired. And that is the reason why we had a backlog of outstanding road restoration for years. We have reduced the backlog. What we did, we entered into a strategic collaboration with some of our partners in the private sector that have access to asphalt plant. And as soon as those leaks are repaired and the road surface, unfortunately, is disrupted to repair the leaks, shortly after, the road paving contractor will come and not only restore the road, but restore the road up to an appropriate and acceptable professional standard. What we are aiming to do right
But is it to the standard of what the road was before? Because so many times we see, the road, it may not be 100% perfect, but it was fine. People didn't have any major problems. But then here comes Wassa along. Every time when you see the outlines on the road, you'll be like, oh, brother, especially when it's those roads going up to the countryside, the Windward Road, the North Side Road, because of those are around corners and so on. And it makes it very difficult for the traveling public. Yeah. And it remains in that state for quite a long time.
Right. And you have to deal with this from a holistic perspective, I'm telling you. It's being tackled at every level. We have seen a lot of improvements over the last year or so, but we intend to ensure that once a leak is repaired on the road ought to be properly restored within a 24 to 48 hour period.
What do you have in place to ensure that the contractor matches the quality of the road repair with what existed before?
Good question. So what we are doing is ensuring that the contractor is an approved contractor with the Ministry of Works and Transport. It's a contractor that has the material, that has the capacity, the technology, the equipment to undertake. And of course, you would have the necessary quality controls inside of WASA to ensure that all of the leaks and all of the restoration are done up to the appropriate standard. If it is not done, then the contractor is going to be removed from the list of contractors that are approved to conduct road restoration.
Now, Mr. Williams, has that been happening?
Well, our situation in Tobago is slightly different. We have an advantage. And the advantage for us in Tobago is that the THE, who is the expert, like those are the road people, they have the responsibility for repair. Right? We have we're in the process of sorting an MOA. So in terms of the quality of the final product, our business is providing the water. We do inconvenience the public when the road is disrupted, but it is our belief that the THE, who are the agents of road repair and construction and things, they will be in the best position to speak to repairs within the confines of quality as set out by their standards. So it's like they are doing their exam and in terms of, so they're marking their own book based on their own exams, because the standards that had last set would be the standards that they would be using to do our road restoration, to do their road restoration and their paving. That will be applied to the leaks and the breaks, the consequences of getting them repaired in terms of having the road resurfaced by the THE, who are also the agents for the road construction. So that helps us in Tobago. It's an advantage that we have in the larger scheme of things. I hope that speaks to.
We're certainly going to look forward to see, keep an eye on how that works. Now, we have to unfortunately wrap this conversation because we're out of time. But before we go, I want to find out now for this services, this function this morning, the opening of these new lines and the commissioning of these new wells. Is the THA invited to be a part of that ceremony?
Of course, the THA was invited. THA is a very vital stakeholder.
Even though they were uninvited at the last one?
I don't know about that. The Tobago, every time I come up to Tobago, I ensure when we have functions of this nature that the THA is included. So I don't know of any incident where the THA was uninvited. That certainly did not happen under the Ministry of Public Utilities. And before we came up, we ensured that they got the necessary invitation to participate in what is going to be in the best interest of all the people of Tobago.
All right. Well, yes, so we're going to be looking forward for it. We're certainly looking forward to better improvement of the water supply in Tobago as we inch closer.
24/7.
We inch closer to that 24/7 water supply.
I'll tell you this, Tobago is in a very fortunate place, and they have seen and continue to see the improvements and the investment that the government of Trinidad and Tobago has made on the island. And I can tell you that based on the results that we have seen so far, Tobago will become a model area that ought to be replicated in other parts of Trinidad and Tobago. And that thanks for Brian and the team of hardworking men and women in the Water and Sewage Authority for the work that they have done over the last 2 years.
Certainly. Now, Minister, it was such a privilege to have you on this morning. I hope that this is not your last. I hope that we could see you many more times here on
So in
set with
50
us.
days after, I'll be back up to commission the new transmission line, as well as the new wells that we're going to start drilling today.
Great. Certainly looking forward. And Mr. Williams, you know, you're no stranger to us here. So thank you for being on with us and for giving us some perspective on what's been happening and some updates with our water supply.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
All right, viewers. Well, that's it for this segment, but please don't go anywhere because we have a lot more coming up for you after the break.
The energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up and look, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up and look. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
The Across the Floor Dance Company presents Emotions, Movement of the Heart dance production on Saturday, May 27th at the Shore Park Complex. Come see dances of all genres. Seating at 6:30 p.m. Show starts promptly at 7 p.m. Tickets are only $100. Children 10 and under pay $50 at the door. Tickets are available at Shore Park Complex box office, or please call 391-2816 for more information. This is an event for the entire family.
Are you looking for a place for your loved ones? Heavenly Care welcomes you. Located at Northside Road opposite Massey Motors, we offer a variety of services. These include doctor visitations, social activities, geriatric care, and much more. Contact us at 277-9595 or visit us at Northside Road opposite Massey Motors. At Heavenly Care, compassion is at the heart of all care.
Welcome to L'Image Parfait Day Spa, your urban oasis and wellness center. Our services includes massages, treatments, facials, pedicures, weight management, detox programs, and much more. Call us today at 624-1452 or 720-7474. Trinidad locations and Bonacord, Tobago at 273-7772. Let us treat you like the VIP you are.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Well, viewers, we are now being joined by the political leader of the Tobago Council of the PNM, Mr. Ansel Dennis, as we get set to talk about some politics, some things that are happening within the space. So a special good morning and welcome to you. So how are you?
Good morning to you. I'm fine, and good morning to Tobago. It's always a pleasure to be on Tobago Updates.
Great. Now, let's get started as to, you guys had a public meeting just this past weekend on Sunday. And this is perhaps the first since the elections?
Yes, it was the first public meeting since the elections. We are going about things in a very organized and strategic way. So we spent some time treating with some of the internal matters of the party. And now we are ready to hit the ground again. So we had our first public meeting. This evening we have a walkabout in the community of Buku once the weather permits. And then the following Sunday after this Sunday will be in Charlottesville. And following that, people could look forward to seeing a presence of the PNM on the ground. We have appointed 47 community advocates, between 2 to 5 persons in each electoral districts. And they will have a responsibility to give support and be the eyes, the ears, and the voice of the PNM in the respective communities. So we are back on the ground in a very strategic and serious way.
That's great to hear. Now, you all mentioned some things on Sunday in regards to, there was a lot of lessons learned from the last THA elections, of course, which landed the PNM in the minority. What are some of those lessons that you guys learned?
Well, first of all, we understand the need now to ensure that we remain in touch with the people and the electorate to feel the temperature and feel the pulse. Because, of course, sometimes you may assume that you continue to maintain that support, and then you get to the polls and you realize that that is not the case. And in the case of 14-1, of course, we knew that there were some challenges, and one of the main challenges was incumbency and people feeling that it was time for a change. But we did not realize that it was to the extent of a 14-1 result. Of course, a number of the seats were very close. But it was 14-1 nonetheless. So we have learned some valuable lessons, and we are continuing to build the party and preparing to rescue Tobago from what is taking place at this time. Because what is taking place, obviously, is governance that is not in the best interests of Tobago and Tobagonians.
Now, what are some of the other real issues? Because, incumbency, it's sort of a broad reason, but what are some of the underlying reasons that you think that, people were not so satisfied with?
Well, it's a number of factors. And what I will say as well is that the PDP ran a very brilliant campaign based on misinformation, and maybe brilliant is not the correct word, but it did work in their favor. So we have to say it was brilliant on their part. Based on misinformation, based on lies, based on promises, based on pretending to be who they were not. And I'm happy now that the people of Tobago are seeing them for exactly who they are. So people bought into that campaign, they bought into that mandate, the promises of fixing the issues that Tobago have according to them, the promises of ex gratia payments, the promises of resolving all the contractual issues for public servants, the promises of delivering service to the people of Tobago. Now we are seeing secretaries very inaccessible, some saying blatantly on Facebook, ease me up under pressure and stuff like that. So they really hoodwink the people of Tobago, right? But again, it's politics. Parties win elections, you lose elections, nobody stays in office forever unless it's a dictatorship. And even dictators die after a while. So nobody stays in office forever. But again, the present circumstances are not in the best interest of Tobago, and a number of those issues were discussed on the platform on Sunday night. And I think we were well able to explain to the people of Tobago quite clearly and in basic terms so that the average Tobagonian can understand that what is taking place in Tobago is serving somebody else's interests and not the interests of the people of Tobago.
Okay, and what are some of those things that the PNM will be doing differently this time around for their election campaign? How are you going to, sort of correct some of the mistakes that you made the last time around?
Well, we are far from a campaign, I would hope. I mean, given the current situation, things are very volatile and unpredictable, but an election is not due until 2025, early 2026. So we are doing a number of things differently as we speak. As I said to you before, we appointed 47 community advocates. We are actually learning from the PDP mistakes, because when they got into office, they were nowhere prepared to govern. Secretaries were making, and still are making, very rookie mistakes. So we understood the need to train people. So as part of that program, we have 47 individuals, some recommended by party groups, some appointed by me directly, utilizing my powers given to me by the party as political leader to appoint some of those advocates. And they will not only be on the ground interacting and interfacing with the people of Tobago, but they will also be exposed to training over the next 2 years to ensure that they are ready to lead, that they are ready to serve, perchance that they end up in the seat of a secretary or an assemblyman or something of the sort. So we are not only about preparing to win an election, but it's important to prepare to govern, and it's important to develop the human capital within the organization called the PNM. So that is a major difference in our approach. And I look forward to that program and the success that it will bring, not only to the party, but to the people of Tobago and the individuals involved.
All right, Mr. Dennis. Now, I just want to move a little bit away from the political, meeting that we had there on Sunday, because, of course, we have a lot to hear as the weeks and months roll out, and we're definitely looking forward to it. But I wanted to now to this issue of a hotel to be constructed at Kilgren Bay Estate. Now, I know you have quite a lot of information about that. So, first of all, could you just give us some history, some background to that project?
Well, contrary to what you have said, no, I do not have a lot of information on that project. I know it was conceptualized sometime in 2019 or 2020, but I have not heard much about the project until recently, where I'm seeing an article in the newspaper that construction is expected to start in October. And also, I think the Chief Secretary announced that hotel on one of his several trips overseas, saying that that project is coming. But of course, we in the PNM, we welcome development, but it must be done in the right way, respecting the environmental laws. And interestingly, we have a situation right in Friendship as well, which is pretty much close by, where a road is being constructed. I would be honest and say I did not know about the road until I saw that news report on TV6 with a resident complaining that he wasn't consulted and that there was some infringement of his constitutional rights. So this is clearly how this administration is operating. No respect for Tobagonians, no respect for law, no respect for man, and perhaps no respect for God himself.
No, I mean, that particular road, it's of course to give access to the airport. Are you aware of what were the previous plans for this road? Because I mean, I know that when the airport project was being conceptualized, we were able to, the government said that there's going to be a second part which would involve the road. Now, what involvement did the THA have prior to, of course, 2021, as to how that road is going to work?
There were some plans to establish a road in that area to facilitate the airport construction. And there were actually already plans on paper. But let's look at the current situation. This THA executive made a decision to change the land use policy for the Friendship Estate. When we approved the policy previously, it included lands allocated for agricultural usage. They changed it and they excluded agriculture completely. So there are no arrangements for people to do agriculture in that area. I don't know what is it they have against farmers, but a place like Friendship, significant amount of acreage of land, they have excluded agriculture completely. If that's your policy, no problem. As part of the arrangements, lands were allocated to a particular individual to undergo some kind of development in the respected area. That is the Executive Council approving that land use policy.
And when was that approved?
Sometime last year or earlier this year, I don't have the exact date. And then you had the situation where they approved the lease. Lo and behold, the secretary comes and cuts a road in the middle of the parcel of land that was approved. So that points to a situation where there is clearly a disconnect between the secretary and perhaps the rest of his executive, where things are being done without consultation. So not only is he not consulting with the people of Tobago and those who will be impacted by this development, but clearly he's not even consulting with his own colleagues. And that explains the chaos that we have had thus far in this administration. The other thing we have to look at is the tendering arrangement. We saw a press
before we
release
get to
coming
the
out.
tendering arrangement, Mr. Dennis, because I mean it's so nice to have you here, because you are able to bring some perspective as to, like, you know, how this whole thing developed. Now, and we have some extra time, so we could get into some details.
So we're going to what, 9:15?
Yeah, so we have a little extra time.
I'm looking at the time.
So,
okay.
right, but, okay, so I want to know, what was the communication with the central government, with the THA when you were in office, in regards to how that road was supposed to be?
Well, again, I don't have all the details of the project, but of course there were plans to do a road. There were meetings with our counterparts in the central government, those responsible for the airport project, to ensure that what was planned was going to be able to facilitate what was required for the airport project. And the plan was that at some point, at the right time, we will have a proper tendering process, and the THA will take responsibility for doing the road.
So it was always meant for the THA to handle the construction of the road?
Yes, as far as I'm aware, that was always the arrangement. The THA is responsible for treating with roads in Tobago, right? So that was the plan. But I'm saying we have a situation now where, because I was going to talk about the tendering process.
Yes, we could get into that now.
Now, this Tobago House of Assembly was accused some time ago by myself and the minority leader and other PNM spokespersons of engaging in tendering arrangements that were not in the best interest of Tobago. As a matter of fact, we accused them of handpicking selected contractors from Trinidad, inviting them to Tobago to engage in road projects, as you would know over the years, were always done by Tobagonians. There are at least 5 or 6 contractors in Tobago capable of doing such projects, and they chose to bring people from Trinidad. When that accusation was leveled, both the Chief Secretary and the Secretary of Infrastructure came to this very said table and said to the people of Tobago, no, we did not select contractors in that manner. We had a bag of 40 contractors, right? The Chief Secretary said it wasn't so select, it was open. The Secretary said, well, we had a bag of 40 contractors that we selected from. The minority leader posed questions to the Secretary again, and then we found out that he lied to the people of Tobago, and it wasn't a bag of 40, but a bag of 7. So it came down to 7 contractors for that particular friendship project. Now, there are a number of things that concern me. Number one, the one Tobago contractor that was invited was given 3 days to prepare his designs and all those kinds of stuff. And anybody who understands how these projects and processes work will know that it is impossible to produce and submit designs for a road, get all the necessary approvals and all of that in 3 days. So clearly,
are you saying that perhaps, you know, somebody might have had inside information here?
Perhaps, right? I am saying that that Tobago contractor definitely was not given a fair chance to get the project.
And you're saying that that's deliberate?
Correct. And in the first place, it wasn't even an open tender. If you look at the THA's website, you will see no open tender with regards to that particular road or any other road that was built recently. So the other thing is that when we were hearing all the discussions about this road, it was said that it was going to be a dual carriageway. Now we are hearing that it was, or that it is going to be a single carriageway. Even when the Tobago contractor was invited to tender, the lone Tobago contractor, it was concerning a dual carriageway. I've heard of no procedure or anything like that concerning a single carriageway. But 8 days after the project was started, because a resident decided to make some noise, and rightfully so, because his constitutional rights were being infringed upon, the Division of Infrastructure releases a ridiculous press release, a very disrespectful press release, saying to the people of Tobago, 1, there is an emergency And because of the traffic situation and all of that, we need to build this road. What is the emergency that requires the division? Now again, I'm not against development. Yes, build a road if you want to build a road. You could build 100 roads in Tobago if you want, if that is your plan for Tobago, that's fine. But I'm saying we cannot have a situation where this administration is flagrantly breaking the law and engaging in tendering procedures that are inimical to Tobago's interests and Tobago's development. So here is it, that you have the same contractor who did the road in Dutchford for $20 million, no tendering process, no designs, and I'm saying that publicly, there are no designs for the project, and I dare the secretary to come and present his designs or the designs that the contractor will utilize to treat with that project. So there are no designs, no proper tendering procedures, no transparency, because again, we in the Tobago space did not know about the road until the media got involved, and then the secretary decided that they're going to put out this press release. And in addition to that, there seems to be some collusion going on, right? So I think these things ought to concern Tobago, that we have a situation where $70 million, $60 million of our money is being spent to do a road. The division decided to trigger an emergency tendering arrangement because, of course, you could sole select contractors, you know. If it's a real emergency, where if you don't do this project, a road might fall along on somebody's house or something of the sort. If it's a real emergency, then of course you can go ahead and select contractors. And even if you want to call it an emergency, why is the arrangement to select contractors outside of Tobago when you have several contractors in Tobago who are well capable of doing such a project? So it reeks of collusion, corruption, and a clear lack of transparency.
Now, what about the argument that, you know, of course, it's the same contractor that constructed the Dutchford Road to Smithfield, and that was, of course, done in 19 days. And, you know, I know Mr. James is going on the premise that, you know, he could, because that was done in 19 days, this other road could also be done in a short space of time. I believe it is 120 days, if I'm not mistaken. How would you respond to that argument?
Well, the fact that the road was done in 19 days at $19 million a day should indicate to Tobagonians that it should not have cost $19 million in the first place. I have seen an assessment, and I am sure it's going to make its way into the public domain. The minority leader has access to that document, where that road could have been done for about $9 million. I also have another assessment that I will bring to the public at some point in time, where this current road that is being done for $60-odd million could be done for about $30 to $40 million, right? But I said to the individual, as professional as he is, to wait. Let's see what is going to be done for the $60-odd million before we bring this to the public, because it could mean that we might be missing something somewhere. Right? And I really want to be fair to them, because as much as the actions may point in a particular direction, I don't like to believe that Tobagonians are so, or those Tobagonians in office are so bent on self-interest that they are willing to operate in ways that will be clearly detrimental to the people of Tobago. Because I'm saying, another thing we have to look at, and bar owners are complaining. Even the people on the doubles stand when I go to buy doubles. The people with the gyros stand when I go to buy gyros. They are complaining that something is happening in Tobago where they are not making as much money as before. People are not spending as much. And when you look at it, if you have $300 million to spend in development, and you give most, let's say 90% of that to Tobago contractors, they will employ Tobagonians. They will engage Tobago hardware stores and stuff like that. They will purchase materials. They will have to pay the people they engage their salaries. These people have an opportunity to spend, and these Tobago contractors engaged over 1,000 Tobagonians at a point in time. And
No, but
therefore,
Mr. Dennis,
are these contractors from Trinidad engaging Tobagonians in this way? And the answer so far is absolutely not.
so, but Mr. Dennis, though, I mean, is it fair to put the economy, the situation of the economy, solely on what happened with the contractors, especially in light that of we just came out of a COVID-19 pandemic, when throughout the world, like we have a situation that exists all over the world where people are struggling financially. People are not spending as they used to.
And yes, I am putting it squarely at their feet. Because
why?
In a situation, if you know that the economy is struggling coming out of COVID, and yes, all the economies of the world will struggle as a result of the impacts on COVID, then that should be more reason to ensure that whatever you do and whatever money you spend as far as possible remains in Tobago. So clearly, they do not care about the economy of Tobago and Tobagonians. Even food support that people got during the pandemic, food cards, food hampers. I remember there was a big issue about P&M assemblymen making that support available to people. Now I am hearing of people applying for food cards since last year from the THA, and they are yet to receive it, right? Even the situation with Novo, you know we come out of a pandemic recently, right? The farmers actually had some of the best times during the pandemic because we had to engage in giving food support, and all of the goods, all of the items required for that came from farms right here in Tobago. So they know this. They know that we're coming out of a pandemic. They know that the Tobago economy needs every cent that it could get. And they choose to spend 20 million plus 20 million in Dutch Fort, plus 25 million in Moriah, plus
But,
60
again,
odd million down in Friendship.
Also, that
yes,
money
no.
has not yet been
plus,
spent
plus
yet.
300, it has not been spent yet. But guess what? It is a bill on the THA's books. So I don't want to hear the argument that we're getting it on credit. The fact is that money is already earned by these contractors because the THA has to pay the bills. And that is even more alarming because we have a situation where Tobago contractors are being owed and not paid. And guess what? Some of these Trinidad contractors who started work recently have already received payments according to my information, right? So that is even more damaging that Tobago contractors owe this money. I hope that they are not owing any of their workers, right? But I'm sure they are owing the banks, right? And we have a situation where this administration chooses to spend all our development money on Trinidad contractors in circumstances where we have the capacity in Tobago. And I want to say this as well. That is one of the reasons as well why they cannot get things done as it relates to infrastructure. Because right now, the quarry is the only source of asphalt on the island, right? That contractor who is doing the road in Friendship, he has to get his asphalt from the quarry. And by the way, the quarry is going to sell him at perhaps $1,300 per ton. And I'm sure the bill to the THA for that same asphalt, when you look at the bill of quantities, is going to be perhaps double the cost of that. But the point I'm making is you have 2 or 3 contractors in Tobago who have their own plant that could produce their own asphalt, right? That will not rely on the THA or on the quarry to get asphalt for their projects. You decide that you're going to sideline those contractors, and therefore you have cut off 2 or 3 points of asphalt production so that you could be able to do your paving, fix your potholes, build your roads and stuff like that in Tobago. You have cut those off by sidelining those contracts on the ridiculous claims of audit and audit and audit, when they are bringing contractors from Trinidad who are under audit, right, or under some arrangement in the court where the central government is concerned. But they could come to Tobago and do work in Tobago. But you have sidelined those contractors, and your only source of asphalt in Tobago right now is the quarry. The THA has to rely on the quarry, And the contractors that they bring into Tobago also have to rely on the quarry. And that explains why the situation is so bad as it relates to the division of infrastructure being able to deliver to the people of Tobago.
Mr. Dennis, why is it that we come to a situation where a lot of the contractors that were engaged prior to 2021 were still owed money? What efforts did your administration make or didn't make to make sure that those bills were paid?
So that is the way the THE operates. Let me explain it to you. Now, every year you get $200 or $300 million to do development work. Obviously, that is not going to be sufficient to do what you need to do. So you have to get some from somewhere. And that additional funding usually comes from the contingency fund that you will only have access to at the end of the fiscal year. So based on how we operated, we engaged the contractors, asked them to do the work, finance the work in most cases. In some, like the smaller projects, agriculture, access roads, and those projects, they get some mobilization. But normally for the larger projects, road paving and these kind of things, we tend to ask the contractors to finance, similar to what this administration is doing. So it's nothing new. And then, of course, the expectation is that at the end of the fiscal year, when you get your additional resources from the contingency fund, you're able to pay off those bills. But what we always ensured is that contractors receive periodic payments so that they could maintain the commitments to the bank and that they can pay their workers and also continue to do work for the Tobago House of Assembly on behalf of the people of Tobago. So you never heard contractors, I mean, there were few complaints of people not getting paid, but generally, you never had a situation where contractors are delinquent in the bank by more than 30, 40%, where contractors are unable to pay their staff, and where you have bar owners complaining that they're not getting as much business as they used to get. And yes, you're not going to get as much business as they used to get when the 1,000 plus persons who were employed by Tobago contractors, when most of them are now home doing nothing, or maybe perhaps they now get a little 10 days on, 10 days off from the Tobago House of Assembly.
But, I mean, it's 1,000 out of 60,000 people.
And that, and when you look at the scheme of things, that is actually a lot.
All right, Mr. Dennis, we'll unfortunately have to leave it out there because we are out of time this morning. Well, viewers, yes, you got a little extra time with Mr. Dennis, and we are so grateful that he was able to stay with us, and we hope that he could be back. And as we dig it some more into some of these issues within our space. All right, so thank you again. And viewers, hope you have a safe and wonderful day, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
To a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise.